During Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's visit with Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump a week ago, they spoke briefly with reporters reacting to Vice President and now candidate Kamala Harris' speech after she met with the Prime Minister.
I actually don't know how a person who's Jewish can vote for her, but that's up to them. But she was certainly disrespectful to Israel, in my opinion.
Trump is not alone in that sentiment. There are leaders in Israel who couldn't agree more.
You could say it's a disaster if she was actually president. Maybe she already is. We don't really know what's going on there. But as a senator, she was the most anti-Israel senator in the Senate. She was basically a squad member serving in the Senate. And just a couple days ago, after she met with Prime Minister Netanyahu, after boycotting his speech in the Congress, her statement was atrocious. She spent most of the time talking about the suffering of the Arabs, of the Palestinians in Gaza. She is bad news for the Jewish people and for Israel. And it's unfortunate that there are still a lot of Jews who are going to vote for her.
But Israel 365 rabbis Pesach Walicki and Tuli Wise say they see more Jewish Americans abandoning their support for the Democrat Party.
The vast majority of Jews in America are not Torah observant, do not believe in the truth of the Bible. They're not what we call Orthodox or traditional Jews. And as a result, the Jewish people are essentially the vanguard of the progressive left, and they've always overwhelmingly voted for the Democrats. However, Donald Trump got 28% of the Jewish vote in 2020, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it was significant growth. And it looks like he's going to get upwards of about 40% or even higher of the Jewish vote this time. There's definitely a shift going on. There's definitely reason to be optimistic.
Many Jews are moving from the Democratic Party to the Republican Party, and you're going to see a big wave of Jews exiting the Democratic Party and voting for Trump in this coming election.
A Pew Research Center survey released back in April showed 69% of Jews are leaning Democratic, while 29% aligned Republican. Other polls, though not widely reported on, do reflect an apparent shift. A survey performed by the Jewish People Policy Institute on July 19th through the 20th showed that Jewish Americans surveyed perceived Kamala Harris as less pro-Israel than Joe Biden. Back in March, Channel 12 in Israel reportedly performed a survey that revealed 44% of Israelis would rather see former President Donald Trump return to the White House in 2025 compared to 30% who would prefer Joe Biden. Rabbi Walicki explains it this way.
Younger Jews are returning to tradition. According to Pew Research, while only 9% of the Jews in the United States are Orthodox, like myself, when you go to the under age 30 group, that number is doubled.
The Republican National Convention, perhaps the stage for an example of that.
The Democratic Party, the party I registered to vote for the day I turned 18, has become ideologically poisoned.
Christian pro-Israel Americans say,
at the end of the day, God gave the land of Israel to the Jewish people as an everlasting covenant, and that's it.
And we can't vote for a candidate that is seeking to curse Israel and to put Israel in a very dangerous place and siding with the terrorists.
At the Christians United for Israel summit this week in Washington, D.C., participants made their unequivocal support for Israel known. Founder Pastor John Hagee spoke Monday night at the annual gathering, staying firm on the organization's pro-Israel stance.
No equivocation and no excuses for the allowing of anti-Semitism in the streets of this city or in our universities. This must stop.
But as Pastor Hagee spoke inside a convention center on the Potomac just south of Washington, D.C., anti-Israel activists reportedly with Jewish Voice for Peace lined up 25 kayaks in the river outside hoisting a banner that read, CUFI kills. That was just one of the demonstrations throughout the conference. These images, reportedly captured outside, show protesters blocking passage for a bus transporting CUFI attendees to congressional appointments. The crowd changed Free Palestine, among other things. They chanted those things. I was attending the conference, and they were able to capture this video of a group managed to get inside the venue's lobby. That's actually the Hart Senate building. That's on Capitol Hill. And they were singing ceasefire before being removed by police. Thankfully, no violence was reported. CUFI's conference took place without incident, and it was very successful. 877-281-6297 is a phone number you can call, and a licensed prayer minister will pray with you. Listen, the line is being drawn. These people claim to be Christians. There were two types of protesters there. The more violent ones, the vocal ones, and the ones that claim to be Christians and sang. They all got arrested by Capitol Police. And the line's being drawn that you're going to have to decide whose side will you be on and whose report will you believe. We will always bring you the truth here at Victory News and not bring you marketing like was so well said earlier in our newscast.